Success in Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Person you're about to hear from, you know him well. His website is InTheMoneyStocks.com. To quote him, as complicated and confusing as the technicals may seem, once understood, it is the symmetry and simplicity that is the true beauty of the markets. Nick Santiago, how you been?
Great, Kerry. Great to be back.
Hey, so last time we talked, I think it was about 2 months ago, we were spot on about gold and silver. You said 1,400, look out above, and here we are in the high 1380s and just a stone's throw away.
Yeah, it should just be a matter of time now before we go test the 14.15, 14.20 level. I think that's probably a spot where traders will where at least they should look for gold to stall out a little bit. But I mean, right now, once you watch the pattern, there's nothing to say that it can't go higher even in 2014 in that level. But that's my first target, so we're getting close.
Yeah, and it really has happened pretty quickly. I mean, it was the end of last year, kind of December, where the technicals kind of just firmed up. And then come January 3rd, I think was the first trading day of the year, it was out of the gate and there was no stopping it.
No, there was no stopping it. Basically, the bottom was made in gold on the 31st of December 2013. And I had wrote an article saying, you know, there are so many bears that are in gold right now. I mean, so many people were bearish. If you just watch any of these Bloomberg or CNBC or any of these financial networks, they were just killing gold. It's going lower. It's 900, 800. You know, people forget that gold has had a tremendous run. I mean, it was just trading at, in 2000 down at 200 an ounce, and it goes all the way up to 1900. Things need a natural correction, and that's what we had in gold, and I think it's still the place to be.
And even if there was manipulation going on, which we could debate all day, you're right. 12 years up, a 2-year break. And if you go back to 1900, the gold hoard that got uncovered by those people in California in the gold area, forget what they call that whole area where the gold strike was found in 1849, they found coins that had a face value of $27,000. The bullion value of those coins today was over $1.8 million, which means that from 1900 to today, those coins went up $685 times their face value. So yes, that's 114 years where those coins went up that much. We could see that happen easily over the next, however many years. But I'd say in a very short period of time, it could easily happen where they go up 3, 4, or 5 times that.
You know, people think that gold is just a useless relic, but there's a reason why it's been the currency of choice for the past 6,000 years. And that's simply because governments cannot print it. So, now I know there's this resurgence there's this big alliance or allegiance now towards Bitcoin, but Bitcoin isn't backed by anything. The only thing that really has true value or store of value is gold and silver. And in my opinion, everybody, I don't care if it goes down to $1 an ounce, you should own something. At least you'll have a real store of worth, and gold and silver are just that. They're the greatest conductors of electricity. They have many, many uses. Gold has tremendous industrial qualities. However, it's not used because it's so expensive to get.
Great point. And I'm glad that you brought up Bitcoin, because as a trader, I'm sure you can appreciate various aspects of it. But as a person who understands gold and silver, it's not money, is it?
No. And I don't trade Bitcoin. I have not bought into Bitcoin. I really can't understand Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the same basically as any other fiat currency. It's just that. It's a fiat currency. It's backed by nothing. the allure of Bitcoin is that they're promising not to print more of it or create more of it digitally for 100 years. So basically, whereas the Federal Reserve is printing money each and every day, the Bank of Japan is printing money each and every day, the Bank of England is printing more money each and every day. They're just diluting the currencies. Bitcoin promises that we're not going to dilute anymore, but we're not backed by anything. So how is that, real? I just can't grasp it. So in a case like that, I'll just go out and buy more gold, buy more silver, and I'll just keep hoarding that.
Yeah, and look, if they want to take your gold and silver, they can't hack into your computer and get it. They got to come to your door with a gun or a SWAT team and do it. With Bitcoin, it seems like they hack into your computer, or they get your digital wallet, and goodbye, right?
Absolutely. I was speaking to somebody who said this is ultimately, though, like the test, right? These big governments, they ultimately want digital currency so they could track every single thing you do with your money. I don't think we ever need a digital currency in our lifetimes, and let alone my children's lifetime. So I hope we never, ever see digital currency ever, because I think it's outright dangerous.
And on that note, I don't know if you caught this, but New York State is licensing digital currency exchanges. Did you catch that?
I didn't catch it, but it's no surprise to me. I've seen the writing on the wall. I know government wants it. They want it in the worst way. They've been, trying to get everything to go digital because they want to track you. I mean, look at just what's going on. They're tracking this conversation we're having right now. So, I mean, everything is being tracked. And once they can track your money, it's basically they know everything that you're doing. And it's terrible.
And I just wrote an article. So, look, I don't know if you've been to an ATM lately. I don't know how much you use cash, not prying. I used to use cash quite a bit. So what's happening here, Nick, is that the cash in circulation is not being replaced like it once was. It's falling apart.
Yes, it is.
It's old and crummy. Now our erstwhile Secretary of the Treasurer, Jack Lew, came into office in January, I believe, of last year, or February. In June, there was an article that he had to change his signature because he had a bunch of loops and it was indecipherable. And the Secretary of the Treasury has got to have at least one letter of his signature decipherable when he signs currency. In the meantime, they've been printing up money according to the moneyfactory.gov website. I haven't seen one 2013 Jack Lew bill. I put out the alert to listeners out there. If you hear my voice, tell me how many Jack Lew bills you've seen. One person said they've seen 3 of them. So that's the subject of this week's newsletter. If you've seen a Jack Lew bill, make a partial copy of his signature. Do not make an entire scan of the bill. That is illegal, and you'll get us both into trouble. Send me a partial copy of Jack Lew's signature. I want to see it, because this is part of the government's plan, I believe, to get you off of paper currency and any type of anonymous currency that allows you to enter into transactions anonymously. They want to track everything, just like Nick said.
That's it. That's where it's going. That's where it's heading, and it's already begun. What can you say?
Yeah.
And this Bitcoin is just promoting it along.
That's what Martin Armstrong said as well. And so Nick, getting back to markets, what about the stock market? What's your view on the Dow and S&P there?
They're all heading lower. Right now, 2013 was really the bullish year. 2014 is going to be very, very choppy with the downside bias. So there's going to be opportunities for bounces in the market. There'll be times where the market will be supported. But right now, I mean, basically, this is how it's working. The S&P 500 is following in virtual lockstep the action in the dollar-yen chart. So as the dollar-yen goes, so goes the S&P. Also, when the dollar-yen goes lower, you'll also see gold rise. When the dollar-yen pops, I think that gold will decline. But right now, I had a topping signal on the dollar-yen last week, which I gave to my members, and that level was exactly 103.75. And now dollar-yen is at 101.44 and going down to around the 97 level. So we're expecting more downside in the dollar yen. That tells us we should get a lot more upside in gold, and the stock market should continue lower.
Stock market's lower, and therefore the high-flying stocks, the Googles, the Apples, et cetera, also heading lower, huh?
Yes, especially stocks like Apple, because that stock has been making lower highs on the chart. So that will wind up back down around 460, 470 pretty soon.
And Google, which is really a high flyer, same thing, huh?
Well, I don't think Google's going to take as severe a hit as Apple because it's been a market leader and it's still in an uptrend. Google's just coming off of the highs that were made their highs were just made 6 days ago. So Google's going to do a little fare better than Apple, but they're both going to go lower. But Apple is going to go substantially lower because it's been a much weaker equity.
Yeah, and I see that Google's giving Apple a run for market cap, for total market cap, huh?
Getting close, yes. It is starting to get pretty close there. Google's had just a tremendous run, but when you think about it, Microsoft had a similar run many, many years ago before, I think it was Bill Clinton that came in and said, hey, you guys have a little bit of a monopoly. You can only wonder if it's about around that time before that Google gets that little red flag going in its stock price as well.
Well, we'll be talking more about Google and other stocks up next on the Financial Survival Network.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Do you have Medicare or health insurance through your employer? If so, listen up. The healthcare reform wasn't written to save the healthcare industry or even to lower healthcare costs. Shoot, it isn't even designed to insure the uninsured. It's just a temporary political byproduct. Like a flat rock you step on in a swiftly moving stream, Obamacare is just a means to an end. Want to learn more about Obama's ultimate objective? Then you'll want to review our latest research presentation found on oclies.com. In it, a health expert and industry insider explains what you think you know about caring for your health is about to drastically change in 2014. Plus, he details the simple steps you could take to save thousands of dollars per year in health costs. It's free for you to preview at oclies.com. Don't waste time. What you don't know about the healthcare reform could hurt you and your family.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
And we are back with Nick Santiago of InTheMoneyStocks.com. So, Nick, if you got $10,000 right now, obviously Google, dangerous place to put it right now.
Yes. Yes, so, Google's a dangerous place to put it. In fact, I wouldn't put it, if you're a long-term investor, I would not put it in any stocks right now at all. Mm-hmm. I'd sit on it. I'd keep it in cash.
Keep it in cash, gold or silver? Or
well, if you have $10,000 to invest, go buy yourself some silver bullion. Right now it's on sale. You're not going to get it at a better level than this. So if I would recommend anybody, $21 an ounce, go pick it up today.
Yeah, $21 an ounce. It's quite the deal, huh?
I think it's a steal of the century.
So, what about the state of retailing in America? I read that there's over 1 billion vacant square feet of retail space in America today, and that number is only going up.
I'll give you an example about how bad the retail sector is becoming. If you just take a look at the Sbarro's Pizza, they just filed bankruptcy for the second time, I think, in 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's just telling you that malls just don't have traffic any longer. And this is a big, big problem going forward. So I'm not really sure how these retail stocks can stay at these valuations up here. You take a look at a JCPenney's or a Sears. I mean, it's like a ghost town when you walk in those places, and their stock prices reflect the action in the store. So I really have a hard time getting my brain around how these retailers, can be trading at some of these levels that they are today. So I think that the consumer is going to continue to pull back. And if you see in 2014, I really don't see the positives here. I know you watch CNBC or you watch Bloomberg and you get these analysts on there. They're so bullish, but there are a lot of problems out here.
I mean, you even see McDonald's sales going down and Walmart,
Constantly. McDonald's, Walmart. I mean, you could just even look at Costco, which is one of my favorite stores. I mean, even their comps were down recently. So this is not a sign of strength for the economy. It's not a sign of strength. And the central bank, the Federal Reserve, they know this. I mean, they're doing their best to keep the liquidity in the system, but they're flying by they're flying by hope here, and hope is a place where you want to put it. You want to institute hope in church, not in the market.
Yeah, hope is a 4-letter word in the market, right?
That's it. There's no room for hope in the stock market here. You gotta know what you're doing here. You got to know where the buyers are, where the big money's going to be. And right now, I look at the retailer. I mean, I look at the retail consumer, and they're tapped. There's no question about it.
And then we go to China. We see that their shadow banking system is really seizing. You're going to have massive bankruptcies in China because, they remind me so much of what happened in the U.S. in the 1929, basically the Depression, because a lot of the companies in the U.S. had massive sales. They were growing like crazy, but they really weren't making any money, Nick, Right.
And if you take a look at the Shanghai Composite, this stock market over there peaked in 2009 and has been making steady lower lows on the chart. It's now trading at around 2,000. In 2009, it was up to 3,500. This is going to go below its 2008 low very, very soon. That 2008 low in the Shanghai Composite, which is mainland China's stock market, was around 1664. I'm predicting a move down to around 1400, maybe even a little bit lower than that. So, I mean, when you look at China, and they're the world's largest exporter to the United States, right? We buy every T-shirt you buy, everything says made in China.
Bicycles.
What happens here if the U.S. consumer slows down? Well, I'll tell you what happens. They're already slowing down. That's why China's slowing down. Yeah. The only reason why the Chinese even own our treasuries are because we buy their products. So this is a cycle that is really almost spiraling down the drain right now, and a lot of people are not following it very close. Yes, a lot of people are not looking at this.
And their largest trading bloc is the Eurozone, and that's slowing down, regardless what those numbers say, which you can't believe anyway. So 45% of all their trade is between the U.S. and the Eurozone. Throw in South America, throw in Canada, throw in Mexico, and then throw in Japan, which is also slowing down. And you've got the recipe for massive bankruptcies in China. And it's not like they're just going to line up at Walmart at midnight where their EBT cards get recharged the first of every month because they don't have them. There's bad things coming down the pike for those guys.
Absolutely. And another negative, too, if you want to talk about the Chinese market, is that once their consumer slows down, who's going to buy those Cadillacs from General Motors? Who's going to buy that fried chicken from Yum Brands, Kentucky Fried Chicken? Who's going to spend money on a lot of these companies that have been making good money over there? I have to say, since the Olympics left Beijing, it's really been a downward spiral for the Chinese economy.
The Olympics have that way for emerging economies. Generally, nothing good comes of it. And the other thing is that every Chinese company just about that's listed on the U.S. exchange has their books cooked.
Oh, yeah. You're seeing that more and more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I never trusted one of them. And it's nothing to do with the Chinese. It's just that they don't believe in GAAP. GAAP is not something that's consistent with their value system. It's really that simple when you get down to it. It just isn't. It's just a place where they view the NASDAQ, the U.S. stock exchanges, as a cash register. And, you're going to have massive bankruptcies there just the same way you had here in the Great Depression. And are they prepared to deal with this, Nick?
No way. And you got to remember, there's 1.4 billion, 1.3 billion people in that country. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of people to feed. When people go hungry, there's civil unrest. And when that begins, it spirals into a whole nother deal. And I think that China is a major, major problem.
Yeah. So does that lead to war? Does it lead to revolution, insurrection? I'm not sure where this thing ends up with them. I've never met the central planner in any country that knew what the hell he was doing. Yeah, they've been real smart buying up resources, buying up gold. I think that's a masterstroke. Okay. What they do with it, how they keep the lid on it. They're not like Americans who line up for a bank run in the 1930s and just politely say, can I have my money? No, you can't. And then they just go home and lick their wounds. The Chinese do not have that compliant belief in a constitution that protects their rights because they've never had one. They're like in the streets rioting. They had a couple 100,000 riots last year. They're just not like Westerners in that regard. And I just don't, people are telling me, oh, they've got this all planned out to just take over the world. And I think that's all well and good. And maybe that was their plan. But there's a little thing called double entry accounting, I think, is getting in their way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And not that I think we're any better off, mind you. I think it's a disaster here in the making. It's unfolding before your eyes right now, Nick. But
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and that's why I always tell people to protect themselves by owning some precious metals. I mean, I don't care if precious metals drop and they go down to $1, like I said, per ounce of silver. I think you have to have something because that's really going to be the last man standing, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, there's an article here in Bloomberg today. China bond risk exceeds Ireland as defaults unavoidable. We had the first default this week in China, and, they've just basically thrown in the towel and said, we can't stop the defaults. And
if one starts, it's like the old cockroach theory. There's a million more right behind it. So the same thing here. When the subprime crisis, that shadow banking is very similar to our subprime crisis, except now you're dealing with 1.3 billion people, and it's just a lot of people. It's a mass number, and I don't think people understand how big it really is.
And when they start getting wiped out, Nick, millions of them at a time, all their savings, they got gold. Maybe some of them do, maybe 5% of them, maybe 7% of the population does. Who knows? You don't know the numbers because you can't believe any numbers. Right? If there's one theme we've learned here, can't believe any numbers that any government puts out. Your website, we got to wrap. Your website, where we find you, how we subscribe.
Yeah, come on over to InTheMoneyStocks.com. You can take out a 7-day free trial for our research center or our intraday stock chat. You'll see we put out tons of content. Take a visit. I think you'll like what you see.
And, of course, just check out FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. Click the link to Nick's site in the show notes. Don't forget, sign up for this week's newsletter. Got a different perspective on the money supply than you will find anywhere else. It's really dirty, and I mean the money supply is dirty, physically dirty. So we'll talk to you soon, Nick. Thanks so much for being on. Talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Kerry. Have a great day.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.